The big question, can the broader stock market move higher without the FANG stocks? Joining us now, Paul Christopher, head of global market strategy for Wells Fargo Investment Institute, and senior markets commentator Mike Santoli. I mean, we're not ready to. The FANGs aren't going away. They're some of the biggest. I mean, they're a big part of the market, but a big part of who we are, society. I mean, yes. I can't imagine without.
Dominant franchises, everyday products. Now, yes, they're important for the market. I think it is also, though, important to recognize that the four kind of traditional FANG stocks are, on average, 15% below their all-time high. That includes what Amazon did going into today. And yet the overall S&P 500 is within 1% of its all-time high. So it's a bigger struggle if you have this large a chunk of market value that's not performing all that well. But I do think as long as it's not purely all growth stocks are for sale, if semiconductors continue to work, stocks like Visa, which reported last night, big growth stocks people love that are quasi-FANG, I think that then the market has a path, but it's a tougher path to go higher if these stocks are kind of in the penalty box.
I don't know where you are, Paul, but I mean, every time we have someone, every 6 months, people say, you know, I'm value now. I think FANG's had its run. I'm value now. I think we need value. And FANG always seems to reassert itself. Is this really the time now to lessen that exposure?
We agree that we wouldn't focus on the FANG stocks per se. We would focus on the broader sectors, consumer discretionary, infotech. Those are 30% roughly of the market cap in the S&P. They account for 50 to 60% of the returns, whether you look back 6 months or 12 months. They're here to stay, and we think those are going to be sources of growth for the market, and that's what's going to drive the market. Not a lot higher, but we are looking for mid-single-digit gains next year, and we think those two sectors will be a key part.
You know what, you talk about value, rotation into value. It's obviously been pronounced. There's been some traction in the more cyclical stocks and financials in particular. But the two biggest stocks in the S&P value subindex, Apple and JP Morgan. So Apple hitting all-time highs, kind of part of the broader FANG universe. It's, I guess, technically value, but it's not necessarily what people think of as beaten down, cheap, no-growth stock. So there's subtleties in terms of the definitions, but I do think that you don't necessarily have to be all in on one style of stock.
Paul, the law of large numbers should have taken over with Apple about $500 billion of market cap ago. I don't know whether we need to get some new ideas of what's big and when the law of large numbers takes over, because there's going to be a lot of trillion-dollar companies and before we know it.
Yeah, that might well be, but the growth is still the key, and we think earnings growth will be about 6% next year. That should bring along a lot of other stocks as well.